Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods. Let's wake up, guys, here on this Saturday morning as we sit 36 days, 10 hours, 45 minutes, and 20 seconds away from the 2020 season kicking off against the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles. One thing, my father taught me many things. My father taught me always to be a man. And being a man meant a lot of things. You know, you got to take care of your family. You got to work hard. You got to set an example. And when you're wrong, admit that you're wrong. You make a mistake. Sometimes it's not the mistake you make. It's covering up the mistake that gets you into more trouble. And so I made a mistake, or maybe preliminary got it wrong. And I want to make sure that I atone for my mistake, because I read this last night. I was getting set up. I was all excited yesterday because we added some new things here. We're changing some things around, and we're getting closer and closer and more likely to having a football season. So I'm just kind of like going 1,000 miles an hour. You know, we got our new. Like, check this out, okay? Like if, let's say, we want to think about those Eagles. You know, we're hoping that this is what we'll hear from the Eagle fans all season. And hopefully we'll be hearing a lot of this.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
So as I was getting set up for my live stream last night, I'm working, I'm loading all this stuff, and I'm running out of time, and I'm not making excuses. I messed up on this one. I read this from the fan, and it got messed up in the translation. NFL agent Todd, who represents Dallas Cowboys quarterback, has mutually agreed to part ways with the agency. That's the part I missed. To part ways. That's what I got was Dak Prescott, or NFL agent Todd, who represents Dallas Cowboys quarterback, has mutually agreed to part ways. And I missed with his agency. I missed that. I'm flat out, I missed that part. Okay? And in my mind, and I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses, but there's some of you out there that may have a similar problem that I'd have, which is dyslexia. I've talked about this before. If you've been a fan of this show, we've had boxing building outside. There's no plans on that. The plans are up here in my head. It's more difficult for me to build something from plans. That shower door I'm trying to put up over at that bathroom, it's driving me crazy because it's like a set of plans that are this thick. If I were just seeing somebody put it up, or see it actually one put up, no problem. I can reverse engineer it in my mind and get it. So I miss a lot of things, and you guys know when I've read things to you, it's not good. So I got that part wrong. So let me clarify it right now and make sure that I got it wrong. Right now, what we know is Todd, who's part of CAA, or was CAA agency, Creative Artists Agency, who represents Dak Prescott as well as other big name players, has left that firm. Dak Prescott is still listed as one of his, as his agent. So that's where we stand on it. My apologies. I didn't do it for clickbait. Miss Jackie ended up calling me just for the show and said, no, you kind of got it wrong. And I'm rectifying that now because I'm double checking this morning and seeing I'm an idiot. So I apologize. I never try and bring you false information or anything like that. So hopefully we can correct this. Todd, my apologies. Dak Prescott, my apologies. CAA, my apologies on that. So That being said, hopefully we can move on to our Dallas Cowboys. It's amazing because we've seen, speaking of Dak Prescott, throughout this offseason, we have so many people, because Dak Prescott is polarizing. We had all these Eagle fans last night in here, and I kind of went off on some of them that keep saying that Carson Wentz is elite, Dak Prescott is serviceable. And I'm sick and tired of hearing serviceable. He's okay. He's a bus driver. Every few days or so, we'll see like a statistic, and everybody says, oh, well, he's just a stat guy. Or, they'll say he doesn't pass the eye test and things. And you go through and you say things like, well, if you take over the course of Dak Prescott's career, the number of quarterbacks that have 15,000 plus yards passing, the quarterbacks that have over 95 touchdown passes, the quarterbacks that have 40 or more wins, the quarterbacks that have 2 or more Pro Bowls. There's 3 guys on that list: Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and Dak Prescott. And I say if you add rushing touchdowns, say 20 or more, Dak is in that all alone. Here's another one of these other ones that's kind of interesting that I just kind of saw yesterday. The top 3 quarterbacks with the highest yard average when under pressure. There's some quarterbacks that get under pressure and they fumble a lot. There's some quarterbacks in the fourth quarter that turn over the ball a lot. Under pressure is when you really need a quarterback to be the best. Number 3, Drew Brees, 5.2 yards. Pat Mahomes, my homeboy, he can throw the ball behind his back and everything else, no look passes and stuff. 5.5. Dak Prescott, number 1. Number 1 at 6.1 yards per pass under pressure. It's not even close. It's almost a full yard more than Drew Brees and over half a yard over Pat Mahomes. And we keep seeing more and more of these things. I'm not saying that Dak is Pat Mahomes or Drew Brees, but we keep hearing some of these talking heads out there that'll say, oh, he's a tier 3 quarterback. I'm sorry, I just don't see tier 3 quarterbacks out there that are doing what he has done. It's getting to be just ridiculous, the amount of hate. It's not even subjective anymore. It's just like it's ingrained belief in their head that regardless of whatever happens, that they'll never believe in the guy. One person who actually seems to be liking what he's seeing, fortunately, is actually the coach. Mike McCarthy, in his press conference yesterday, talked about how he's happy about his quarterback room. In the throwing parts of practice, of strength and conditioning and stuff, how he's impressed with what Dak Prescott's doing. So hopefully they'll be able to get this stuff together. So far we're hearing great things as far as the system being implemented. The plays don't really change. The terminology does. That's where Mike McCarthy is taking Kellen Moore and saying, you might call it dut, but this is what we're calling it dut. So this has got to translate on down to the players and everything else for the different four nations and stuff. And come next Friday, there'll be actually padded practices for the players. And this is going to be great because we'll finally start hearing more and more about how the team is going. I still don't know how they're going to be doing as far as the press, if they're going to be open practices where they'll have cameras there to, live stream to the journalists, or how they're going to do it, or if all the practices will be closed or so on. There's still a lot of things that still have to be figured out with the NFL and the season, which is kind of crazy. But so far, so good. Yesterday, another day without any Dallas Cowboy players testing positive for COVID. So let's hopefully, knock on wood, hope to keep it that way. So again, My apologies for getting that story wrong, and I'll make sure I double read things. It's kind of like in woodworking. What we always say is measure twice, cut once. Well, I need to read twice, post once. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you have a great Saturday, and I'll see you soon.